Hi everyone and welcome to the Cook with Janie kitchen. It's barbecue week here and I'm going to show you today the ultimate barbecue sauce. It is so delicious, really easy to make, and I'm going to show you and give you some extra little tips. Hi Caroline, nice to see your name popping up all the way from Australia. Well, my first little tip that I'm going to give to you today is you can see how my Thermomix is. I've got my lid upside down and my measuring cup sitting on top. If you're cooking strongly flavored or spicy or turmeric based curries or sauces like today, then the seal inside your lid can pick up some of the fragrance, but it will disappear as soon as it's exposed to the air. And you obviously wash and dry it properly. So I always keep my lid upside down on top of the Thermomix like that. And that just gives you a head start on a beautiful, fresh smelling Thermomix lid. And I'm going to pop that over here right now because we're going to get started with the ultimate barbecue sauce. Hi Kahar, and hi everyone else who's coming on. I might have missed a few names, but you are all very, very welcome, of course. Today I'm doing a recipe from Cookidoo, and that is the Vorwerk Thermomix online recipe platform or recipe reservoir. It's got 40 or 50,000 recipes now. It is amazing, and it gives you lots of inspiration if you're a creative cook like me, and wonderful recipes to follow step by step if you're a scientific weights and measures person. Hi Liza, nice to see you. And what we're going to do today is I've got up the ultimate barbecue sauce, and this one is on cookidoo.co.uk in case you happen to be watching in a different country, and then you'll know to look for UK. So here we go. Here I'm going to go to the recipe. Actually, you can see here, if you press the down arrow, you can read the entire recipe before you get started. And what I've done is I've got all my ingredients out and ready to go. And that's always a good idea, just to help you do it really, really easily and quickly. And then you know you're going to get everything into the recipe. And that's really lovely. So I've got my recipe. I'm looking here. It's 2 steps. That is easy. So I like recipes that are nice and easy like this. So I'm going to press the start cooking button and get going. And the first thing that we start with is 500 grams of passata. And I think I mentioned last week or the week before, I had a lot of beautiful organic tomatoes, and I made some passata for myself. So this is preset to the scales, and I'm just going to add in my passata here, shake it in, and here we go. Almost 500 now. You can see it's nice and thick, the passata that I made. If I had used up all of the bottle and I had a little bit left in, hi Chris, then what I would have done is I would have added my next bit, which is 250 grams of water. I would have added that in next. Now here's my water. So I'm going to add this in. So here we go. It does say you can use 800 grams of tin chopped tomatoes instead of the passata, which is blended tomatoes, slightly thickened. And so that's why I'm adding the extra water here. So I'll press that back to 0 and 250 grams here. And sometimes what I do, if I've used up my entire bottle, say that was a 500 gram bottle of passata, then I would have used this water to rinse out that jar and get the rest of that beautiful tomato puree out, or passata. There we are, 250. So that's that one, and then I'll check next and see what I've got. So 70 grams of onions. I've pre-weighed this one, so that should be pretty close. 60 will do. And next, 100 grams of demerara sugar. Well, I promised you today when I advertised this Facebook Live, this video, that I would tell you how to use what's in your cupboards. And I have some jaggery sugar in these beautiful, funny little shaped lumps, and it's been sitting in my sugar jar for a while, and I want to use it up, and it'll add lots of wonderful flavor. So I'm actually just going to weigh this in, and I need 100 grams, and I can use this instead of demerara sugar. So let's just see here. 100 exactly. Well, that was pretty lucky. I'll pop that over there. And then next, 200 grams of malt vinegar. So here we go. I love the scales built into the Thermomix because it just resets every time and you're ready to go on your weighing, which is really lovely. So 200 grams, this is malt vinegar. When I made my example batch of this, which I'll show you later, I used some red wine vinegar because that's what I happen to have. So there we are. That one's going over here, out of the way, and then we'll go next. So you could use other kinds of vinegar if you wanted to. Tomato puree. So it's a tablespoon. Well, I happen to know that a tablespoon is about 20 to 25 grams. So I'm just going to go back to my home screen and show you that it saves the recipe. That's the little bookmark up there. And I'm just going to go to the weighing scales and weigh in my tomato puree. And oh, there's 24. That'll do nicely. 20 to 25 grams of tomato puree. And that's really nice to know because that means that I don't have to get a tablespoon dirty, which is great. So I can go back to the recipe now. It goes straight back to that step I was on. And now I can add 3 tablespoons of golden syrup. Well, I don't have any golden syrup, and I didn't when I made my sample batch either. But a neighbor down the road made me some lockdown marmalade. That's what she called it. And it is fabulously delicious. And I thought, well, I know I could use honey, but I could also add some wonderful orangey hints of flavor to this barbecue sauce if I use some marmalade. Lots of us have bits and pieces of jams and marmalade left in the cupboard or the fridge, and so it's really nice to be able to add different flavors to something that is a recipe on Cookidoo and make it your own, and make it your own family flavors. So here we go here, and I'm just going to add in 1, 2, 3. I think that's probably 3 right there. I was very generous. This is only a teaspoon, but I was heaping it up. Let's put a little bit more in. There we are. And next is a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, and that weighs 15 grams. So again, I'm going to just go to my scales. So I go to the home key, save the recipe, and do scales, and 15 grams of Worcester sauce. This one is a gluten-free Worcester sauce. If you're gluten-free, make sure that you use one that doesn't have any wheat or gluten in it. So here we go, 15 grams. There we are. And I happen to know that the next ingredient is soy sauce, and I'm going to use tamari without any gluten in it for the same reason. And it is a tablespoon, so while I'm here on the scales, I'm just going to go back to 0, touch the right place on the screen, and here we go. So 15 grams of the soy sauce, or in this case, tamari, which is a gluten-free one. There we are. So that's those ingredients, and then I can go back to the recipe here again. It's so easy, it goes straight back. And I'll show you, yes, the next ingredient was actually the soy sauce. And so here we are, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and I've got that here, I'll just show you. So there's my smoked paprika. If you don't like smoky flavor, then just use normal paprika. And I've also got, it says half a teaspoon of chili powder. I've actually got about 3/4 of a teaspoon because I actually really like it, and half a teaspoon of salt. And because we'll be reducing this sauce down quite a lot, by about half in the volume, I'm actually really going to stick to that amount of salt. And I found that the sauce, when it was reduced down, was just perfect for that. And I'm going to put all of those in together because I know they're in. There we are, the chili powder and the sea salt. And the next lot of ingredients is a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Well, we like spicy in our family, and I don't have any Dijon mustard. I do have a jar of English mustard, and that's a lot hotter, so it'll add a lot more zoom, oomph, whatever you want to call it, spicy flavor to my barbecue sauce. And again, it's personalizing a beautiful recipe and making it your family's recipe too, which is great. And here we go next, 2 garlic cloves. Now look at this. I've got one tiny one and one really big one. So I'm going to put them both in. And here we go, half a nutmeg. There's my half a nutmeg. And 4 cloves. There we are. And 2 star anise. Some people don't know what star anise is, but here they are here. They're little wee star-shaped seedy flowers sort of things, and they're you pop them in with your other ingredients. John, what were you going to ask about?
If you hold them like that, they'll look amazing.
Rightio, here we go. So there we are. Hi Nico, welcome. It's lovely to see your name popping up, and everybody else who's come on as well. And because that other one was quite small, I've got a couple of little broken bits. So I sort of averaged out 2 whole star anise. And I've got a couple of bay leaves. These ones are from the garden, even though it says 2 dried. Oh, actually it does say 2 dried bay leaves or 2 fresh bay leaves. So here we go, they're going into. And my next thing to do is to place the simmering basket instead of the measuring cup on the mixing bowl lid. So here we are here. So that's my measuring cup, which I'm not using. And here we are here with the simmering basket on top. This sauce, as I said, is going to cook until it reduces by about half. And in order to know that, it's worth looking in your Thermomix bowl. So here we go. I'm going to look, and it's about probably exactly between 1 liter and 1.5 liters. So 1250, if I remember that, I'm aiming to reduce down to about 675 to 700 grams of finished sauce. And that's worth remembering. So here we go, and it says 75 minutes, 100, speed 2. And the steam is going to come up and be released through your simmering basket much more easily than through the measuring cup, which is why you use this instead of the measuring cup. So I don't want to actually stand here and chat to you for 75 minutes. And by the way, it might take a little bit longer to reduce your sauce by half, your barbecue sauce by half. If it's a rainy day or it's really humid, then make sure that you are aware of your starting quantity. You can even write it down at this point in time. And then you're fine for knowing how much it's reduced. So actually, I can just leave that there and I can show you the one that I made yesterday. So here we are here. I think if any of you saw the beautiful photograph of the glossy, glossy sauce, then you will have seen, let me see, my barbecue assistant is going to put the light into the bowl so you can see it. It's a beautiful glossy sauce. And I use the word unctuous on Facebook because it's lovely and thick and gorgeous and gloopy. Really, really nice, like a bought barbecue sauce, but homemade. So here we go. Here I can get these ingredients out of the way. Pop them over to the side. And what we've got here is whatever you want to do in terms of putting your barbecue sauce on. And you could have slices of aubergine, you could have tofu, you could have, if you're vegetarian or vegan, chunks of courgettes, you could have poultry, or in this case, I've got some pork here. I've got some lovely pork ribs, and I'm just going to pour some of this over. And then I'll leave those to marinate for several hours in the fridge. This is an old Tupperware dish of mine. Just hang on a sec, John. I'm just going to show this so you can see there. Old favorite Tupperware marinating dish. Really nice. And so I'm just going to put that to one side and I'll pop it into the fridge. So just like that. I'll put that out here for the moment. And I'm going to pour the excess barbecue sauce into a lovely little jar, a bottle, with a lid, and then I'll have that in the fridge for using for the future. So here I am here, and I've got my barbecue sauce, and can you see that? I hope you can see that, John. Yep. Here we go. Fabulous barbecue assistant helping me out here. And I'll just turn this so I can see. And here it comes. And what I've got left over after a couple of batches of cooking already, the one that I just prepared for you to marinate. And you can also brush this onto veggies and meat and poultry, or tofu, or halloumi on the barbecue if you like. So there's my jar of barbecue sauce ready to go into the fridge. And my barbecue chef has been working hard, and he is producing a fabulous bunch of beautifully, these are hot, they smell so good. I cannot tell you how wonderful they smell, and I'm sure they will taste delicious too. So I've got a plate here, a very pretty little plate with some wooden cutlery, and that's from Mr. Waitrose down the road. And I've got my son's homemade, handmade, lovely tongs, and I'm just going to put a couple of these wonderful ribs onto my plate here, and then I've got the cutlery beside it, and that can go here. And what we've got here, just with a few tomatoes and maybe whatever salad you want to add to it, we've got a fabulous, beautiful, gorgeous, delicious barbecue sauce lunch. And it really is wonderful. And I think that there's a few questions here. So John, go ahead.
Well, there's a comment, because I think you mentioned you can vary this recipe a lot.
Yes.
And Alison says she uses jaggery sugar because she says
Yes.
it makes it even more nourishing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And jaggery is another word for the kind of sugar that I used this morning. It's really yummy and adds flavour to your dishes. Anything else, John?
And did you talk about reducing the sauce?
Yes, I did talk about reducing the sauce. I found the other day that I had to reduce it for longer. So I had to put it on for an extra 20 minutes at Varoma speed 2. It was a pouring wet rainy day. So that's the kind of extra time that you actually might need to cook it for. And anything else, John?
You were going to mention Tom Kerridge, I think.
Oh, Tom Kerridge. And Steve gave me this heads up, Steve, Chef Woolly Cooks, and he let me know that Tom Kerridge has just announced that he is doing a barbecue series on the Food Network coming up very soon. So hi Tom, and if you're watching this or if somebody sends it to you, nice to say hello and acknowledge you. And anything else, John?
No, there's no other questions.
Okay.
That's it.
Rightio. Well, I hope that you enjoy making the ultimate barbecue sauce with this recipe on Cookidoo and using what you've got in your fridge and your cupboards to make it your own. And enjoy, enjoy, enjoy as you have wonderful barbecues, and enjoy them with family and a few friends. Bye everyone.